pretty purple tree. I'm at a cemetery. Just hanging out with all the dead people on this nice sunny day. When I was a kid, I always wanted one of these purple trees. My grandmother, she subscribed to magazines. And those magazines, they would have ads in them, you know. And you could order the seeds to grow these purple flowering trees. And I always begged her and begged her and begged her, but she said no. We lived out in the woods and we had our own trees. She said, those trees are for people in California where they don't have trees. And now I'm in California and I see these purple trees everywhere. And I love them and I appreciate them because I always wanted one. So, here's the thing. Because there's still people in my comments saying these folks aren't doing anything illegal, and if I had not murdered anybody, they would not be saying that. Gotta put the glass on. It's more sunny than I thought it would be. But how is it that I murdered somebody, but I'm not in prison? This is not a jail, right? I am outdoors. I am in the sun and the trees and the grass. I am not incarcerated. I am not locked up, which means that I have not been convicted of a murder. So it's not right that they keep saying that I was convicted. I would be in prison. If you proved I committed murder, I would be in prison. I am not in prison. I am here under a purple tree in a cemetery. It's a far, far cry from where I would be if I committed the crimes that you are accusing me of committing. Okay. While I'm out here with the dead people, we will have us a conversation. I can trust dead people. Nobody here is going to lie to me. Nobody here is going to attack me. Nobody here is going to laugh at me or mock me or make me cry. Nobody here needs to impress me. I feel comfortable and safe here. Which is what I don't feel around living people. Because living people are horrible. In my experience, they do nothing but lie and steal and cheat. It's frustrating to be accused of a crime. It's more frustrating when that crime can't even be tried because it's not real. You know, like normally, in a normal situation, if you're accused of a crime, there's an investigation. If it's a bad crime, you might be locked up for the investigation. But there's always an investigation of some sort once a crime has been reported, once somebody has accused you. In this situation, there's not going to be any kind of investigation because the crime they are accusing me of has already been solved and closed a decade ago. And it was not me that was on trial at the time. It's not me that's on trial at this time. Because if I was on trial, I would not be here in a cemetery. I would not be outdoors. I would be in a prison cell. Some of their arguments are that I made him commit murder. Every human being has their own free will and their own mind and their own willingness to do whatever it is that they're going to do or not going to do. Every single one of these people in this cemetery was once their own person. You do not have to do something just because somebody else says to do it unless they are holding a gun or a weapon to you. I had no weapon. I had no gun. I was just a woman. And to say that I forced him to do something, how do I force somebody to do something when I'm not even in the same vicinity? I was locked in a truck at the time. How am I forcing his physical body to do anything while I am locked in a truck outside of the building where his physical body is? Even if I was in the same room, I could not control his physical body to do anything because I am not that powerful. I am not a puppeter. And human beings are not puppets. There is not a single person that can pull your strings and force you to do something that you don't want to do. That is, I thought that was well known, but apparently I'm responsible for what other human beings choose to do when I'm not even around. This isn't even like, he is not the first person that they've accused me of controlling and making do something, right? My sister says that our father killed himself because I didn't invite him to my graduation. I wasn't even living in the house when he committed suicide, but it's supposedly my fault. And there are people that say, well, the way you talk, it was the things you said. Okay, I can admit that my vernacular at the time may not have been wonderful because I was raised by people with angry, vicious tempers. Even now, like, the last words my younger sister has ever said to me was that she hopes that I kill myself. And this was just a couple of years ago. It was after our father's suicide. So you have to understand, you're dealing with a family who, after one member commits suicide, will continue telling other members to kill themselves. That's my family. That's who raised me. So if I wasn't thinking clearly and I was saying things that were crazy at the time, I might have been. That doesn't mean somebody has to act on those things. Living in Los Angeles, there are mentally unstable people on the streets all the time. I have heard people screaming that they want somebody killed. Just because the person is out there screaming, kill this man, does not mean that other human beings have to take action and use their physical being to kill this man, right? A mentally ill person saying something does not mean anybody has to do that thing. And yet, I am constantly being accused of crimes other people physically committed. And I can't even make the joke that I was acquitted because you have to be tried to be acquitted. And I was never tried. It was never a case where they accused me of the crime. They're accusing me now because my family is angry. It has nothing to do with whether I actually committed the crime. It has to do with my family being mad and starting a smear campaign to stop me from speaking out about the fact that they stole everything when my grandmother died. My older sister even lied and told me that everything was going to be okay, knowing that the family was working behind the scenes to take everything my grandmother had set up for me and abandon me to be homeless and mentally unwell. It's not right. It's not right that they get to keep winning. It's not right that they get to keep accusing me of these crimes when they can't prove them. And they say they've proved it, but if they have proved it, why am I not in jail? If they have proved it, why am I standing in the sunlight and not sitting behind bars? They have not proved that I committed the crime. They have proved that I was mentally unwell and saying crazy things in 2009. That's not the same as physically committing murder. And it will never, saying words will never be the same as physically committing an act. That's just the way it is. If you have evidence, as I've said before, many times, because this has gone on for 4 years, and I told you 4 years ago when you started, show your evidence to the police. When I knew a murder had happened, I went to the police. When you think a murder has happened, you go to YouTube. We are not the same. One is telling the truth, and the other is running a smear and slander campaign. If I had physically committed the act of murder, I would be in prison. And that is all there is to it. And if you think that I physically committed the act, then I implore you, go to the authorities, go to the police, go to the detectives, give them your information. I will happily cooperate with an investigation. I've told you this already. I will cooperate. Go ahead and give them everything you have. The reason that you don't is because you know there is no case. Your slander and defamation to continue accusing me of a crime that I have never been tried for. In America, our American judicial system states, you are innocent until proven guilty of a crime. Innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, not the court of public opinion. Innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, which means I am innocent until you prove in a court that I have committed this crime. You have not proven it in court, or I would be in jail. That's facts, okay? That's the way law works in America. I am innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So take me to a court of law and prove me guilty, or stop accusing me. And that's the fuck of the whole thing. They will never take me to court. They will never try to prove that I committed this crime. They will just keep saying I did, which is garbage, which is inflammatory, defamatory slander, and is illegal for anybody that has the money for a civil suit, but I don't.